Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Angie Atkinson, and I hopefully will be here with Lise Colucci shortly. I think she might be running a couple minutes late with her last call. So until then, I'm here all by myself. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you can hear me okay. I thought we'd talk about texting today. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for people to jump into the chat, I will, let's see, maybe she's here now. Let's see, there she is. Yay. Okay, let me pull her in. And we'll just get moving. There we go. Okay. So Lisa and I thought we would talk about texting and when you have to deal with a narcissist via text. Lisa, hey, welcome. I'm loving the guitars in the background.
Yeah, I had to, yeah, never mind. Hi, sorry I'm late.
No worries. I was just I was waiting and then I thought, gosh, I'm already pretty late, so I should jump on just in case. Anyway, my eyes are full of water today.
Okay, I'm too bright, so there we go.
Oh, well, I can probably brighten up. Well, okay. Anyway, so I thought we would talk about, as we talked about before, texting, right? Mm-hmm. So before we jump into that, let me say this to everyone who's here. Thanks for coming in. And when hey, Christine, one of our mod squad is here. If the other two are able to make it, they will share screen reminders, or I guess Chris will if they're not. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're jumping in.
Good. Texting.
All right.
Yes.
Texting. Let's talk about it.
Texting.
So have you personally had any negative experiences texting a narcissist?
Oh, what's really interesting is I was sitting here thinking, what am I going to talk about this week live? And it was texting.
Are you serious?
Yes. That's why when I saw you, I'm like, oh, okay, that works.
I did not even realize that.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Because it's a thing, you can't. So when you're texting them, I'm assuming we're low contact here as best we can. We're not texting because we want, I guess there's different reasons to text.
There's different reasons. I mean, sometimes you're texting someone you're still in a relationship with. And sometimes you're texting someone you're no longer in a relationship with, But the way that and I'll tell you something. One thing I learned indirectly the hard way is don't text someone you don't trust. And if you do, don't say anything. Right. It can be used against you out of context. Right. Mm-hmm. But personally, tell me, have you experienced, whether yourself or your clients, have you experienced any?
Usually with texting, it's like conversation, only it's more confusing when they gaslight because it's all in writing. And so you see your, whatever it is you're saying, and then you see them gaslighting you. And then you try to reply and you get engaged with the texting dialogue back and forth. When you're being gaslighted through text, you're like, but it's real. Look, I can see it right here.
Right.
And then you reply, and then they come back with more gaslighting, and then you get sucked in and drawn down this. And then eventually you're defending yourself, or you're whatever. So yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. So I was thinking along the lines of like, when you're low contact co-parenting or parallel parenting, as we have no choice. And they ask a question, you reply with a simple answer because you're trying to just keep it just the information needed. You're doing your very best, and they still come back with an argumentative, criticizing. They just come back with themselves, which is right. And then trying to reply to that. So yeah, it's never fun texting a narcissist. It's
never fun.
It's almost like a tool, right? It's like a whole nother tool that they have to use.
It is. Yeah. And it's pretty frustrating. Yeah. I've had clients who have talked about it. And I mean, I did deal with it with my parent narcissist. My ex, I was no longer, I mean, I was done with him before texting was a thing. So primarily, before it was before everybody was doing it. So it wasn't really an issue with him, but it certainly was with my parent narcissist. And I know that a lot of my clients have talked about similar issues. So that where and then you send a text. In fact, what I was mentioning earlier when I said I've learned the hard way, indirect hard way, not to text anything someone I don't trust that could be taken out of context. One of my clients went through a horrible smear campaign because of something
Yeah.
like that. So just recently. So yeah, I think I know it's frustrating. On the plus side, here's something on the plus side. If you can maintain your gray rock situation in your text, right? Then I had a client who, what was it, 2 years ago? 3 years ago, I don't know. She ended up having, it's a whole story, but her ex kept texting. She was like one of the youngest bank presidents ever. Anyway, or VPs or something. Anyway, and her man worked in the same bank, and he was sending horrible texts to her, among other things, all types of abuse. And long story short, she was able to get her phone company, which at the time was Verizon, to print out like an official list of the texts. And it was, I guess verified by the court or something. And she was actually able to use those to get, to get a restraining order, and to essentially, he ended up losing his job. It was a whole big thing. So thank goodness she was able to do that, because I really thought that guy was going to do more than just scare her.
Yeah.
So, so there's the plus side to it, I guess. But
now, right, you have the proof. The plus is you've got the proof.
Exactly.
At least you have it in writing.
Right. Mm-hmm. And screenshots are great, but screenshots can be altered and everything. So if you can go to, the
parenting app or something.
Yeah. Right. Parenting app, ideally.
A court app. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the app. The court approved apps.
Well, they're a pain to use. They have they have limitations. They cost you money, and they give you a court admissible record. So you may never need it, but in the event that you do, you've got it. And and you can keep your composure on there, and let them have their rants and rages and raving and lunacy, then it's all in writing.
Right.
And as long as you are polite and concise and answering the question in hand, and every now and then pointing out, hey, I don't like your abuse right now. Every now and then.
Stand it.
It's really hard. You got to keep your composure, but they won't keep their composure. They'll break, and most of them.
Right.
Because they think the app's there to protect them.
That's right. And that's okay. Let them think whatever they need.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is there to protect them. If we're being
honest. Of course. Yeah. Right.
Oh, I see Carlita in the house. Hey, girl. Carlita was one of our co-authors on, I think on, which one was it? It was the anthology. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Let's see here. So wait a minute. Hey, Crystal. I had a question I wanted to pick up right away because, let's see, because it was about this. Oh, somebody said, here it is. Venus Vegas says, texting a narcissist, why, if you have no children? Great question. If you do have children, that's why.
Right.
If you don't have children, maybe you need to go with divorce or business or whatever. But also, there are some narcissists some people end up staying near, like a parent or a family member, or sometimes you're stuck in a job with a narcissist boss. So it helps to understand about texting either way. But certainly for most people, it's about children, I think.
Children or business or financial needs or something. Yeah. There's
right.
Some tie that you can't break.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then Ola Black says, I can't say it. BLVCK. Ola, I'm just calling it Ola. Says, yeah, before when I said, stop messaging me, stop manipulating me, he just said, block me then, and proceeded to call me from a private number 100 times. Never again, I'm tired. I feel you.
There's a good point there. When you've said it, it's fair to say it once. Stop messaging me. Don't say it again. Just don't reply. Don't answer. Don't reply. Just put them on block or put them on ignore, or whatever you need to do, and let it just fill the inbox, but don't look.
Right. Absolutely.
It's hard because you're getting re-traumatized every time they text, but if you reply, you're engaging. What they're trying to do is keep a crack in the door so that you engage.
That's right. And what Peggy says here, she says, I wouldn't even attempt a gray rock texting if you have the ability to go no contact. I learned the hard way. 100% agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you don't need to talk to them, don't talk to them. Period. I mean, again, the only time that I would recommend it is if you are court ordered to do so, or it's something you can't, like we said, business or finances or whatever. But this is, we're talking about an ex here. And because the thing is, there are many people in the community who are currently still in the relationship, whether they're planning to leave or they can't leave right now. You know what I mean? We have to think about those people too. So yes, I agree. Okay. Elizabeth says, an advice from me: if you move away from the narcissist and decide no contact, block their number because they can still hoover you back. Text hoover. That's a very good point. It happened to me. I'm still shameful if I think about it. Totally feel you. Don't feel shameful. Lise, do you have anything for Elizabeth?
Can you repeat it? I couldn't, it was.
Yeah. If you move away from the narcissist and decide no contact, block the number because they can still text hoover you back. It happened to me. I'm still shameful if I think about it. This is from Elizabeth.
Shameful. What's the shame? Can you?
I think she feels ashamed that, and I think if I remember, her mother is her narcissist, if I remember right. But she feels ashamed that she allowed her mother to draw her back in to be hoovered.
Oh, we gotta stop with our self-shame. We're just gaslighting ourselves, and we're just repeating the damage that the toxic person wants us to repeat. Yep. Okay, so we've got to stop shaming, and that's a whole nother topic, but work on just realizing, okay, so this happened. I have to learn this lesson. If I shame myself, I'm going to keep doing it because I'm going to have to keep proving to myself that I'm wrong and I'm bad, and proving the bad thing that they think about me, which is what we do, right? We loop.
Yes.
So just be like, okay, I feel shame right now. So I'm going to just move forward and not engage again.
Right.
It's totally normal to get hoovered back in multiple times for most people.
Correct.
And it's really hard to break the cycle of needing to justify yourself, needing for that person to validate you, needing for them to admit what they did, find closure, all of that, like especially with a parent. You just want them to get it.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Especially with a parent. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just accept that you're among good people when you do things like that, and you just gotta, okay, silence this time. And I know that feeling of like, why did I engage? I knew better.
Yes.
But yeah.
I know that one too.
Yeah.
All too well.
All too well. Yeah. And it's because we're smart, and it's because we see the big picture, and we know what would make it better.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna get it from them.
No, unfortunately.
No.
That's not. Yeah. Now here's a question. And I think this is a really good one from Awa. She says, what about stopping yourself texting back a narcissist after a breakup? This is a really good one. So let me start with this. Personally, I'm going to give you my advice. I'm going to ask Lise to give you hers. Okay. My advice is this. Number one, if you can, either block that person from texting you or make silence their text, right? So that if it does come through, you don't see it right away, you don't jump to it. Secondly, I would suggest that if you have to remember that connecting with these people is almost like an addiction because of any trauma bonding you may have developed during the relationship. So what would you do if you were trying to like quit, eating chocolate? Maybe something I would do is I would make myself wait 20 minutes and then I would decide if I was, at the end of the 20 minutes, maybe I'd have the chocolate, maybe I wouldn't, but 20 minutes would usually be enough time in that case to, for your brain to receive the signal that your stomach's full. But also in this case, it's a time, if you really think about it for 20 minutes, go do something else, get distracted, whatever, you may find that you don't really need to text them back. It's that initial urge, I think, that is the addiction part. And if you maybe make something I do with clients is I have them make a list of all the things, all the reasons they don't want to go back to that person in very like emotional detail, the way they felt when this happened or that happened or whatever. And I have them read the list in that 20 minutes if they can. So that's something you can think about. And pattern interrupts help as well. Lise, what are your thoughts? Yeah,
all of those things. I would add that maybe get some more knowledge if you don't have a lot of it on trauma bonding so that you can understand what's happening. And I just did a video yesterday that might be useful here, which is about intermittent reinforcement and how it affects you and creates the trauma bonds. And basically when you're texting and you're getting the argument, the ghosting, I'm going to be nice now. I'm nice until I'm mean 5 minutes later. All of that is intermittent reinforcement. So go watch that. That might help you understand a little bit about why you need to not engage in it. the fastest way to break trauma bonds is not engaging with the narcissist, going no contact, blocking, not looking, all of that. It's hard. It's an addiction. Your brain is, I explained it on there, but your brain is, it's chemical. It's not just,
it's those
not just emotion.
neurotransmitters.
It's those
Right.
neurotransmitters, and your dopamine is low when you've been with a narcissist, except for when you're around them, then it raises. And so you've been trained, right? And you got to retrain, and it hurts.
And your brain is also neuroplastic, so it can be changed.
Exactly. You can change, and you will find other ways to raise that dopamine. You're not going to be thinking about it. It'll just happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can intentionally do it by doing things like exercise or watching things that make you laugh or spending time with friends or hugging your dog or your kids or whatever. The cat works too. I'm into cats myself.
Right. Well, one thing I like to tell people to try is if they are unable to stop like they're doing all those things that you suggested and they're still feeling that drive to text back, do something else, like research a vacation you want to take, research something for your job, get into your brain in a different part of your brain.
It helps.
And that raises your dopamine if you're doing something for fun. Or something to seek, or like, ooh, I wonder how much I can get for this wedding ring. And like start researching. It helps raise the dopamine in a different direction, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
You don't want to go back to the poison for the cure.
That's right. And remember too, that when they are texting you after a breakup, it's pretty much a Hoover.
Yeah,
So if you think, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about that part of it, how it's manipulation, sometimes that can help as well.
Oh yeah, you're being manipulated. They're keeping the door open so that they can use you more.
Yes. And Lise,
yes,
doesn't this, your support group is really good for this, right? Can you talk about that group coaching?
Well, it does help to have a group of people who are going through the same thing, who can also validate, give you and to hear their stories and that they're struggling with it. And then sometimes in there, one thing with group coaching I don't talk about a lot is the coaching part. And that is one thing that I personally am, the way I work with it is it's individual. So it's not just like here it's we're giving you all we can because we don't know you. But when you work with either one of us personally, you're going to get personal things. And so for instance, someone I just realized, a client, is she's very intelligent. She's very A-type. She's she has to win. And I don't mean that in like, I have to win. She just does. And she does. She achieves. She's a high achiever in every other area except love. Right. And the thing is, she is winning. She's winning toxic men over and over and over again. And she's trying to win. And so we discovered that it's like, you're trying to fix something and win, but you can't win with these people. And it's not that she needs to win in a relationship. What I mean is win over something within herself. And so that can only come out when you're talking one-on-one and you get to know people. So that's something in the group coaching that comes up a lot, like this individual attention that helps you, particularly with why you can't stop.
That's right. And I know that, go ahead.
No, that's it. It's just.
And so let's just say that one of your members has a moment of weakness and they like, oh my God, I want to text them so bad. Could they text your group chat?
Yes. There's that too. Like if there's a moment, please. Yeah, that's what it's for is, and everyone will scream at you, no, don't do it.
In a very supportive way.
And also if you do end up doing it, there's no shame.
That's right.
It's just, okay, pick yourself up. Let's dust off and start over. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that program. I'm so excited that you've been doing so well with it. It's
it's a good group.
People love it. Yeah. Okay. All right. We got another one. Let's see. Oh, Rory says at the time we had only a landline. Yeah. I was in the same boat when I got divorced.
But didn't you want to call a lot? I remember having a narcissist leave. I was discarded. I haven't talked about this one. I was discarded by one that I just figured out what it was. Like, I don't know, 5 years ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, he was one too. He ghosted. This is back before any of this was popular.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right.
Before we knew.
He just vanished, like to the point where I'm calling hospitals. And I didn't know what happened or what I did or what was what. And then looking back at the relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, that was narcissism. Okay. But I can remember wanting to call and call and call. Like it was the same feeling people describe with texting. You
Oh
just,
yeah.
and you looked crazier because you're like, why aren't you
Okay.
answering?
Oh, God.
Have to fill the answering machine with hang-ups.
That's kind of fun. I remember those days.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. It's hard to even fathom. I mean,
Yeah, it's,
wow. Yeah.
but it was there. It just wasn't with words.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, here we go. Now, Chris says, I think the big problem is when you realize that you can't trust the person. I mean, that is the beginning of the end, right?
Mhm.
Usually. And sometimes we don't realize that until it's too late, you know?
Right.
And I think that's the issue. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
Sometimes you don't. So sometimes what?
Not realizing that, like at the moment that you realize, okay, I can't trust this person.
Oh.
Yeah. At
Yeah,
that
but
moment,
you know what? If you can use that moment instead of getting upset with yourself about it to observe what's going on, that's the beginning of discovery. When
indeed.
we talk about discover, understand, overcome, that's like the door that opens to discovery. When
Right.
you realize I can't trust this person, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're about. And you start Googling weird stuff and,
Yep.
and you start Googling things, not weird stuff, but what should be, what is,
Right.
why am I always crying and my relationship should not be normal, right?
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
unfortunately too common, but yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Venus says, this is good. Oh, she said, I went complete gray rock, no contact, and he went to jail for a year for what he did to me. He contacted me in October last year by mail or by email, and I blocked him. And I don't care to ever see from him. I don't care to ever see or hear from him ever. 100% with you. Yes. Yes. I think that's the best advice. I'm sorry that I must have been pretty serious going to jail for a year, what he did. I'm
Yes.
so sorry that you were hurt.
Mhm.
But I will say this, good for you for going gray rock and good for you for not accepting his email and not
Yeah.
responding to him because you
Mhm.
probably saved yourself a lot of pain
Mhm.
and trouble. Yeah. Carlita, that's right. Carlita was my co-author on Navigating No Contact with a Narcissist. Carlita's story is crazy. We did a whole video on it. It's somewhere on my channel. I'll find it if anyone's
I remember
interested.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But she's amazing and powerful, and we love her. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Helpful Mom says, it's my belief that the purpose of mistakes is to teach, not to shame. Yes. That is exactly what I think too. But I think that or to learn, you know what I mean?
Learn.
I
Yeah.
think,
Mhm.
yeah. I think when we can look at it from this perspective, we can see it for what it really is. But a narcissist, like if you look at them the wrong way, you're punished, right? And shamed and
Right.
everything else.
Right.
So, yeah.
But the problem is we're so used to the shaming that it draws us right back in.
Right.
It,
That's right.
It's not a good deterrent, shame.
It's hard to, especially if we were raised by a toxic person.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
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 Hard to walk away from it sometimes because we feel the need to prove ourselves, don't we?
We do. And we, to ourselves, to other people. Yeah.
And to the stupid narcissist.
And
They're stupid.
well, yeah.
Let me take out the stupid, no opinion here, narcissist. Okay.
Right.
Deep Poetic Society. What a fabulous name. Why would my ex want to eat my favorite sandwich by texting me what I put on it? I was just blown away by how. Okay, that would be a Hoover.
Yeah, that's a Hoover. Straight up. Yep.
Yeah. Without question.
I have seen that so many times.
I get this recipe. How's the dog? Yeah. It's ridiculous that the weight, because if you did, I don't know if you responded to that Deep Poetic Society, but if you did, then you already know it was a Hoover. But thoughts on that, Lise?
Well, yeah, that's a Hoover, and just ignore it.
Yeah, 100%.
Just ignore it. Don't. We also have to, excuse me. Every time we ask why, and we want to dig into the why do they do this? Why did they do that? Totally normal to do that and totally understandable.
Right.
But that's a habit to break in oneself. And the answer is always because they're a narcissist. It literally is. You can just go back and read what narcissists do and be like, oh, that's why. It's always they, if they've left you and they're contacting you, it's 99.9% a Hoover. There is
Mhm.
1% maybe in there, maybe less than 1% where they actually need information. That's
Yeah.
when you're not having a shared common thing like a kid, that
That's right.
maybe there's information once in a while, but
Right.
usually it's a Hoover, almost always. So if
Right.
you're going, why are they doing this? It's a Hoover,
Right. That's right.
it's the answer. And why did they Hoover? Who cares? Because they want your supply. They want to keep the door open so you can be secondary supply while they have another supply in case it doesn't work with another supply, or because they enjoy the harem of having.
Bam.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's
100%.
over and over. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Pocket Full of Sunshine has a really interesting situation, and I love what she's decided to do with it. My ex works nights and spam texts me through the night. I just told him to no contact. Oh, excuse me. I just told him to contact me via email only. He said no. So now I screenshot an email response back. Yes, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably really peeves him right off too. But that's really the smartest thing you can do, especially if you can keep that gray rock and do no emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know of someone that has parallel parenting with a narcissist, and they are required by court to use a parenting app because she was smart enough to get it in there. And he still, well, he'll ask something, or she'll ask something, whatever's needed for the child. He'll reply through text. And then he'll say, why aren't you answering my text? And then he'll say, clearly you don't care about your child if you're not answering my text. And then he'll say, if you're not setting a very good example of communication for our child by that. And it goes on. And so there's 15 texts. And then so she'll just screenshot it all and do exactly that. Reply, screenshot, paste it into the parenting app and say, here's my answer. But she'll answer the original question. She'll just ignore the, yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's
right.
Yeah, they use text any way they can to get your attention.
They really do.
Text is addicting anyway. Think about it.
For sure.
It's super addicting. If you have a day, maybe not you because you have so many correspondents, but if most of us have a day where we don't have a text, it feels a little empty.
I can't even imagine a day without text.
Yeah.
I cannot. It does not make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
and so because it's addicting, imagine the supply they're getting.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. And I meant in general, by the way, a text. I didn't mean any specific person when I said myself.
No,
right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Here's another example of what you were just talking about. Well, a question that we can kind of help with, I think. Awa says, how can you stop yourself from replying? And we already talked about that part, but when they make new fake accounts to contact you. So my suggestion here, I'm going to be quick and I'm going to ask Lise to share hers as well, is number one, do not accept messages from people you don't know. It's very easy to set that up on most socials. Number two, lock your account down if you're not like an influencer or something. Lock your account down to friends only. Don't share anything publicly unless you don't mind them finding it or seeing it. And set your messages up so they can't message you directly unless they are a friend. Thoughts, Lise?
Yeah, that. And how do you stop yourself? Back to remembering that it opens up the doors for your own trauma bonding. It will make it so it's harder for you to then not engage.
That's right.
But don't hurt yourself like that. Just realize what's going on. Distract yourself. Vent about it somewhere safe.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, they did it again. That's, that's okay, to somewhere safe where that you're able to do that.
Yes.
The same way you don't respond or pick up the phone to spam calls.
That's right.
You just want a vacation or those kind of calls. It's the same way. That's all they are. They're just nuisances.
Yeah. And a lot of my phone now, if a call comes through and the phone doesn't recognize it and it's not like an official something or other or person, it will say potential spam.
Yeah. That's a scam alert or whatever.
Yeah. And so you can change the name of your toxic person to that as well.
You can. I actually had a group last night. Anyone who was still in contact, I suggested change the name of your narcissist to whatever. Something
do not answer.
Do not answer, do not reply. And then I showed mine. I was like, see, this is what I did. And see, I think we had 3 or 4 of us all.
That's fine.
Had
Funny names.
Funny names, but no, yeah, just reminders to yourself. Sometimes
Of course.
if you do that and you put things like the monster or whatever, that's too engaging.
Yep.
Make it boring for yourself. Don't reply. Just a reminder, a stop sign.
Yeah,
And you
totally.
can even change their name, their face picture to a stop sign.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So a little visual cue.
Yeah.
To remind you. I like that. Okay, we have Peggy who says, try to, oh, this is a little bit of advice she was giving to another chat member, but I want to share it. It's really good. It says, try to remember to tell yourself that it's not worth things to keep you connected to a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy, that is really important and powerful. And I think that that's one of those things that you don't ever want to, look, I'm not shaming or anything, because everybody has different needs. But like, if you're in a situation where it's like, well, I'll lose my fabulous lifestyle or whatever, your lifestyle, it might be a little less grand on the outside, but my God, it's going to be so much more fabulous on the inside, so I totally agree with that statement. Thank you. Do you have any thoughts on that, Lise?
Yeah,
on
the stuff. I'm just trying to think of what else to say. It's very individual. It's very individual. It's tricky because they'll do things like, I know of one that is withholding her baby pictures.
And that's another thing, right?
And that it is just stuff.
Right.
But it's stuff that has sentimental attachment that is beyond
different.
Irreplaceable. It is different, kind of. And also she's doing awesome where she's like, and
are they her baby pictures or her children's baby pictures?
Her.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not replaceable. This is not a situation she can get them from anyone else. So it's just, they do stuff like this. They will keep anything that they think that they will give them
a door back in.
And the person even said, because I tried getting them, and they said, well, this is the only leverage I have.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's ridiculous. I'm so sorry.
I know, this is what they do. Yeah. But you're right. Stuff isn't worth your freedom is worth more.
I totally agree.
And unfortunately, there are people who don't have the luxury of that because they need to eat and survive.
And that's the issue. Right. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important to differentiate because.
Right. Yeah. It's a very individual thing.
Completely. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Ola says they also love to talk about their physical health. When you go no contact, they will come up with a million diseases they are having now. Angie, you're an amazing thing. Oh, thank you so much. Ola, listen, I totally feel you. And all I would say is that I would go to the doctor once and get a good checkup, have them run, explain who you've been dealing with, have them run the tests as needed, whatever typical panel they run for people like us who have been through things like that. And then I would just let it go, and I would not allow them to. They're doing, it's a Hoover. It's probably not, it could be accurate, but probably not. I assume you're talking about STDs. If you're not talking about STDs, well, then I would guess that it's straight Hoover and they just want attention. These thoughts.
Yeah, that when they use illness, you mean when they use?
Oh, she's saying, she said diseases, so I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, when they use, they do this a lot. They even use other people's illness. Their mom, their child, their dog, their anyone, their friends, something. And it's a Hoover, right? They just
it's gross. Yep. Let's see here. We have,
and you don't even need to reply to that. You can just block it and then go take the information. And if it's something you need to test yourself, or go do it on your own without a reply back.
Right.
You got to remember that the best way to actually have any effect on how that narcissist feels is to ignore them.
Oh, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. And because the truth is that supply that you take that away, they're just going to flail until they find someone else to latch onto, Yeah. Let's see here. Julie said, excuse me. I'm going to come back to that one. I don't want to. Okay. Awa says, oh, good. Awa says, thanks. That would help. Good stuff. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one from Helpful Mama. She says, when you go to contact with a narcissist of any stripe, I like that. Make a list of reasons why. That's exactly what I was saying before. Make a list of reasons why you left, and then when you're tempted to contact them, refer to the list. I love that one. It's been very effective for me with my parent narcissist. All right, let's see here, and many of my clients, of course. Okay, Peggy says, yeah, exactly what we said about the deep poetic society. It's a classic Hoover. Personally, I wouldn't respond. He can feed himself. Bam, with you. Let's see here. Oh, and Hufflemom says sometimes random texts elicit curiosity, which can entice someone to break no contact, and that's exactly what they're trying to do, of course.
Yes.
You know, and then there's the I didn't mean it, that text wasn't meant for you text. You know,
the problem with it is it's you are wrong if you do, wrong if you don't. I'm just using the word wrong so we don't swear here, but you know what I mean?
Yep, I got you.
Because if you do nothing and you ignore them, then they can, if they're going to smear you, see, they ghosted me. And if you say anything, see, they argue with me, see, they're crazy, see that because they'll get you to get into reaction.
Right.
Yeah. Look how cold he is with your gray rock reply. You know, it doesn't. Oh
yeah.
It's so let them.
And when they say that, just don't respond. Don't respond to anything except
nothing.
And well, nothing if they're hoovering. But if you're in a situation where you're dealing with them for the kids or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you're so cold. You're so this. You're so that." Do not respond to that crap. Only respond to what is a fact. So, what time are you picking that kid up? Exactly. What time are you dropping that kid off?
I think if you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you're not out yet, or it's a parent, you know, in whatever kind of relationship it is, make a vow to yourself to never have an argument through text.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Let them gaslight. Let them. It's provable. Then you can go back and read it and add it to your list later on when you leave.
Right.
The horrible things they did, because it's right there. You know, but don't engage in the gaslighting and the attacks. They tend to be very. The word salad comes into play then.
So much.
It's so confusing and like makes people so like up here and then you have proof of yourself in writing, replying, and you're like, "Ooh, why'd I say that?" You know, later on. So let them do it and just say, "We'll talk about this later. I hear that you're upset. Goodbye." You know.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. So Pocket Full of Sunshine says, "This is about the kids," but then ranting on and on about things from 12 years ago. So again, with this one, same deal. Just only respond to the questions about the kids and the ranting about things that happened years ago.
Right. Exactly. Only when you have to be in contact for whatever reason, that reason, be it kids, job, whatever, is the only thing you talk about. And you only talk about need to know things, period.
Right.
You don't say little Johnny's doing great today. He got a happy face on his whatever paper. And you don't share like you're still a couple. You don't share like they're your friend. Share with
unfortunately, yes.
They're not your friend, right? Share with other people. Don't share like they are co-parenting, because they're not. Right. They're out for themselves and they're using their kids for supply too. So
and that's horrible.
It's horrible, but it's true. And we have to realize 100%. That. So to be our child's advocate, we keep it to our own household. Right. And not sharing between households with the joys and whatever of your child. However, they do need to know pickup times, appointment times, whatever.
Medical stuff.
Medical stuff. Right. If there is an issue, you need to discuss it. It's about that, but not personal. Don't let it get personal. I mean, an example is they will write you and say, you'll say, "Hey, I would like vacation time from this date to this date. We will be going here. Here's the address." And you do everything by the book. And they'll say, "Oh, so this time you decide to give me all the information that I needed." This is a female narcissist, might do this more, but, and I can see that you're finally doing something for your child's well-being. Or are you? Is this just about you? Blah, 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 blah. You're such a this and that. And it goes on and on. And then the next paragraph will be about, "You gave me the date and the time, but you didn't give me the exact location. I need the map coordinates," or whatever the heck they want, right? And then they might ask a question. "Are you returning at 5 or 6?" And then they'll berate you for all the things that you did before in the last paragraph. What do you need to say in that? Honestly, the only thing is, "We'll be returning at 6."
Damn,
That's it. So I give the long example because that's what they do. And then
they
you
really do.
apply like literally a sentence. You have to fish through and you go projecting, attack, accusatory, gaslighting,
Mhm.
word salad, more projecting. Oh, there's the question. Oh, look, another attack.
Yeah, it's a
And that's it. And then that's how they text.
yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh.
Yep, yep. Let's see here, and that's especially when they are, even everybody thinks a Hoover is always they want to get back together, but that's
No.
not always the case.
I'd say less often it's wanting to get back together, and more often it's just wanting attention.
Yes, attention and supply. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else. It's basically the same thing,
Right.
kind of. But or they want to make your life feel bad.
Right. They want you to hurt.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They've heard
enjoy
you're
it.
doing well, and
Mhm.
they don't like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Or they're very good about kicking you when you're down as well. So there's that factor too. Okay.
They're used to devaluing you, so they need to pull the rug out somewhere.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So Deep Poetic Society said, "Oh man, looking for." Well, he didn't say, "Oh man," I added that part. Looking for me to break no contact. I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And I think that's related to the Hoover about the sandwich earlier. Wasn't that Deep Poetic Society?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm so sorry that happened. Are you still together, or are you separated now again? Let us know. Let's see here. Hey, Vicky.
Yeah, that sandwich is a good example because it's an
Mhm.
example of how they will come to you for something that they need,
Yes.
something that they need you for, and it
Right.
hits us right in the empathy.
Oh yeah.
And we
And you
don't
feel-
even know. We just think, oh, they like my sandwich, And
Yeah.
why would I not be? Why it's an olive branch? Why would I not? Yeah.
Oh, this is so and this is why we are doing what we're doing, because it's so easy for anyone to fall back into, because it seems so innocent.
It is
And
for us. It's very innocent for us because we're just trying to relate like human beings
right
to other human beings, but these are human beings with no empathy. So
yeah. Oh, now here was Hufflepuff's advice about when they keep switching numbers. Okay. And I think this is also good advice. When a new account comes up or pops up, the minute you realize it's them, immediately block them and change your phone number. And I totally agree with that as well, because in addition to locking down everything with the phone numbers, I mean, it's gonna eventually they're gonna get tired of trying to get new numbers. I mean, I know there are like spoof apps and stuff, but I wish there weren't. But yeah, so thank you for that. That's a good piece of advice. If you immediately block them and they continue to waste their time and money generating new phone numbers or changing numbers, or signing up for different Skype numbers or whatever, like it's gonna at least cost some time if you immediately block them each time.
I mean, I suppose if you're not feeling trauma bonded, if you're feeling like it's just super annoying and almost freaky and creepy and scary, I suppose there is some benefit to saying, hey, is this so and so? Is this narcissist? And they go, ha, you caught me. And then having like a 1-second conversation to track it so that you can go get a order of protection.
That's fair. That's a good.
That would be like in a situation. There are people I know who are in that position of like, I'm done. I don't want them back. This is 5 years later and they are still doing this. And
Yeah, that's a bad one. But good advice.
It happens though. Yeah. It's
right. And the other side of that, and that's another point that you made that's really important, Lise, about the possible restraining or whatever they call order of protection, depending on where you live. It's really in many cases necessary.
Yeah.
Even though it just feels annoying.
Well, you have to realize it's harassment.
It's literally harassment.
It literally is, and it's legally harassment.
Yeah.
At least
by the legal definition. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And you don't have to put up with it. And if they're doing that to you again, if they're doing that to you and your children, and you feel you can't block them, get a court approved app and only communicate through that. And then if anything they say will be on record with the court. And they can't keep changing numbers.
I know in some states, if you have it in your, this is only in some states, if you have it in your legal document, say for a child, if you have it in the agreement, the legal agreement, that says you have to use a parenting app and no other means of communication. If they continue to text you, it is provable harassment.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, but not everywhere. I don't know about everywhere, but I know.
Check your state
I know of a couple. Check your state, check your laws. Yeah, ask your lawyer if you're in the middle of a divorce.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this too. I know earlier today I responded to somebody's comment, which was on another video about legal stuff, and I said then, and I'll say again, I am not a legal expert, and I definitely always suggest, right. Well, we do have one on our team.
Yeah, but I mean, between us, not
right,
yeah.
not right. But but my suggestion is always, if you have an attorney in place, definitely ask them. And you can also join. Well, we have a group SPAN where we can tag our legal person, or you can join the Divorce Your Narcissist group on Facebook, and she moderates that group. Okay. Vicky Spencer says, my ex wants me to contact him because he wants to change the divorce decree. He wants to send me money directly. Should I answer? Oh, I think you might be the one I answered in the comments. I can't remember if it was the same name, but I'll say again, if it wasn't you, I would not change the divorce decree. Mm-hmm. It is not his choice. I mean, certainly he can go back to court and ask, but again, I would not sign anything without talking to an attorney or someone who knows and understands the law better than I do. And check the laws of your state, all that stuff. Please, any advice from
Yeah,
Vicky?
exactly. I would no. Mm-mm. He wants to pay her directly. Is that what?
Yeah, which means he just doesn't want to pay her, in my opinion.
So it's court. Yeah. It sounds like it's court. He's having to pay through the courts or through the. Oh,
I believe. Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if she's the same one from earlier, I think she's being garnished. And
the narcissist.
He is, not she. He is being garnished. Yeah.
Oh, so they want that off. They want to pay directly. He can do that through the courts.
Yep.
That is no longer his finances are no longer your business as long as that money is deposited. And
there's a reason he's being garnished. It's because he didn't pay first, I assume.
Right.
So, because at least where I've lived,
it's hard to get. Yeah.
And you only get it if they've proven that they can't or won't pay on a
it's hard to get.
Yeah. Let's see here. Piper. But Miranda, I can't talk today, says, I'm ending a 19-year, I don't know what this says. No, what does that mean?
A what?
Oh, I'm sorry, a 22, what did I see now? I'm ending a 22-year, I don't know what RELNO, maybe that was just a typo, marriage. And our only daughter is 19. He's taking everything, the house, the car, everything, even the dog, which I knew he would. I'm still living with my sanity. Any advice? If your attorney doesn't believe that you can get any other, I don't know why that would be. You should, I don't know what state you're in. A lot of states are 50-50 states. This would be a legal thing, but my advice would be, regardless of whether or not you can change the legality of it, run, baby, run.
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter is legally an adult. She can make her own choices. Run, go, have fun, have a better life now. That's what I would say. Stuff is just stuff. Now, if you cannot afford stuff, your attorney should help Lise.
Yeah, and if you can't afford an attorney, or if you're not using an attorney, there's mediation through the courts. Find out. Angie's she's joking over there. She's good. Okay. Find out. You can dig into finding out what you are legally owed, and it is owed, right, from a long-term marriage like that. Through often states also have legal aid for women or people who have been in abusive relationships. Go to an abuse shelter if you need to get counsel to see if there is anything available, or call them and see if there's any legal help available. Call your what is it here? It's legal aid here. They have a whole system set up here for that, where you don't get a whole lot, but you do get a consult. And then you can have all these questions of, okay, been married this long, how should the finances legally be? And then you may need to take it to mediation. You need to take, to court somehow. So, but yeah, run either way. Find a fun job somewhere and live modestly like a starving artist if you have to, just one step at a time. Don't look back.
Yeah. 100%. Excuse me, I was coughing.
Okay, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just keep
I'm good.
talking. I
Thank
am
you.
not ignoring Angie's needs here.
No, you're actually serving them. Thank you. I appreciate you. No, you did good. Um, now, let me ask this: could Rel know? Could that mean something like what? There's some kind of marriage that happens. What's it called? When you're married a certain amount of time in certain states, where it's not legal, but it becomes legal after 7 years or whatever.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever that, I can't remember what that's called now. But if that's the type of marriage we're talking about, I still think you have rights, and I don't think that you should allow
you need to
them.
find them out, right? You need to know your rights. Yeah.
Yes. So just talk to someone. This might be a good question for Misty as well. If you go to that divorce group we talked about.
Yeah.
She knows all about divorce, and she's a paralegal and blah blah. Okay. Okay, here we go. Elizabeth says, "Okay, we'll do." I don't know how we're doing on time because it keeps telling me we started streaming a minute ago. So
I think we're at an hour right now.
Okay, you want to do one more and then?
Sure.
Okay. Elizabeth says, when my mom texted Hoovered me back, she wrote, she took all the pills. I got nervous and started to think if she would be able to unalive herself or not. And yes, it would be my fault. Okay, hold up. It would not be your fault. But the next time she does that, you can call someone to check on her at home at her house.
That's what you do with people who threaten that.
Right. I know that, I think I want to say it's Germany, but it might be a different European country. But I can't remember where you live, Elizabeth. But
there's hotlines out there that you can call in every country.
Yeah.
As far as I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, I know here we can call the police and have them check on her or whatever. But they could do a welfare check because she's doing that is straight up. You're right. It's a Hoover. And it's a horrible way to manipulate a child. It is. I'm so sorry that happened. Any other thoughts for Elizabeth?
Just that's a common threat. And sometimes they act on it either part way, full way. I mean, I had one do that when I was young, really young. And he took the pills.
I've heard.
He survived. And then his mom called me and told me, and I was like, and I don't know how I knew to say this, but I said, Mama, whoever, that is not my problem. I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing to do with that. And I really felt it because they are just so good at guilting. And when it comes from a mother, so realize she's responsible for her own emotional well-being. You are not responsible for her actions. You're not responsible for her abuse. You're not responsible for her at all. She's an adult. Yeah. Right.
That's right. Thank you. It absolutely was common law marriage. Thank you guys.
Common law marriage. Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember that. I think most states don't have it anymore, but there's a few states left that might still have it. And I don't know for sure because I never did one of those. But I knew somebody who did in Illinois years ago, but I don't know if it's still a thing. Anyway, okay. Bathing the dog. Hey, Mystique. Okay. We have so many more good questions and stuff here, but we do have to wrap up. Texas is a common law state, for example.
This is the popular topic, it sounds like.
Yeah. And Vicky's worried that they won't. I'm just going to really quick because we talked about her.
I have time. Whatever, I'm good. So
okay. She's worried that right now it's garnished along with child support and student loans. He never pays his bills. She's worried that if she doesn't respond, he'll stop paying. But the only way right now he can stop paying is to get a court order or quit his job, right? So my suggestion, Vicki, is talk to your attorney to be safe, because I'm not a legal expert, but as far as I understand, that's the case. And garnishment is not his choice. He doesn't get to decide that. It's the state. And because he never pays his bills, it's probably why he's garnished, right? I mean, they don't just do that automatically, usually. So
there's no creditor in the world that's going to say, that's okay.
No, of course not.
So he's coming after you in your feels.
Right. And if it's child support related, I don't know how it works with spousal support, but I know with child support, they will not let him do things. And there are certain legal rights that are taken.
They'll take things like tax returns or
always, and
Oh,
driver's license sometimes in
driver's
some states.
licenses. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll, so
yeah,
no, you need that protection of that.
yeah,
And if
right,
it's been ordered, there's a reason.
yes,
And most likely you see the reason.
right,
If you don't see the reason and you think, oh, it was just rash, then whatever, it might be different.
right,
But most of the time, it's,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It also
Oh,
keeps you from having to deal with him.
that's
See,
right.
if he has to pay you every month, you got to deal with him every month.
You don't want to. You don't. I would keep it as far away from him and you connecting as possible. And I
Yep.
would, if there's
It
anything,
gives him control of your finances.
yeah, he's just trying to stop paying early. That's
Mhm.
all it is, Vicky. And
Mhm.
I think she knows that,
Yeah.
based on her comments here. Miranda, real quick. So Miranda was the one we were talking about who is about to walk away with nothing. And because she said they're not married, but their 19-year-old daughter just moved out. It's over a year ago, she said.
Mhm.
She said, I'm willing to move forward with nothing. I'm gonna tell you something. Stuff is just stuff.
Yep.
It's like I would just take yourself, and if you're being, I mean, narcissistic abuse, you're miserable, it's time. What you have to do, especially if you have no little kids, no younger kids at home. I mean,
Mhm.
any other thoughts for her?
Yeah, there is, you can adjust your if stuff is what's holding you there. You can
Yeah,
try to adjust your thoughts a little bit, your beliefs.
right.
Imagine you're on vacation. Do you need to take
Mm-hmm.
everything in your house? No, just take what you need. And do you
That's
enjoy
right.
your vacation with the minimal clothing you have? Of course you do.
Right.
Right. And I realize moving into an empty apartment with nothing, but I have had this happen from a flood situation where everything was gone. And I moved
Mm.
into a house with, I had a 3-week-old, a 3-year-old,
Oh.
2 older kids, right?
Ooh.
And yeah. And
Mhm.
I remember sitting on the floor and sitting on the floor in an empty house because we finally got a house to rent.
Mhm.
I had paper plates somebody brought me and some plastic forks and a suitcase for each person with their clothing because all you could fit before the house flooded, right?
Ugh,
And I was sitting on the floor with nothing to, like I had a few toys for the kids. I was so happy.
I bet.
I was like, you know what?
Oh,
This is freedom. I don't have to deal with
yes.
stuff. I don't have anything on, like nothing needs cleaning, nothing needs
Mhm.
nothing. It was so when I went through that, I realized, oh, it's actually kind of a burden. If it's holding you somewhere toxic, it's a burden.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah,
attitude shift. It may not be
it
you,
is. No,
but
no,
yeah.
I'm into it. And I'll tell you something else. It's kind of weird, but if you, I don't know, this is going to sound funny, but like there's some, you're right. It can be a relief almost.
It can be,
Especially,
but not for everyone, and it can be hard to
no,
get there for some people. But yeah,
right. But to start from nothing or to
you're
start
gonna be
fresh
okay.
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, it gives you the, to intentionally bring in things to your life instead of just haphazardly as we
Exactly.
manage.
And the things you bring in are hopefully good things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yes. Things that go with your vibe anyway. Okay. All right. There's great advice here in the chat from Sunny Day as well. She says, if you're like and this is something I've suggested before in the past as well. You can box stuff up. If you have time, if you're still there right now and you have
Hmm.
time, you can box stuff up, stick it in your trunk, especially if it's something precious to you. Have your friends keep it, say you sold it, put it in storage. I mean, there are things you can do if you haven't already left.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I know
and
someone who she hadn't left and she'd spent 6 months and she would remove like an unnoticeable amount of her stuff every day.
mm,
And she rented a storage unit. And
yep,
then she'd do big ones and he'd come home and say, "Where's this?" And she goes, "Oh, I just did a big house clean, took it to the Goodwill."
I love
I'm
it.
rearranging. We're gonna buy new furniture someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need that old ratty stuff, and or my mom wanted it, so I brought it to her. I brought it over to her. Anyway, she did this for a year and then she had an apartment full of stuff. She did it with utensils and
Right.
like everything, so she didn't have to start from nothing.
Right. Yes.
And it worked.
She's oh,
It was,
good for you, Miranda. Run, go, 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 go. Good, good, good.
she's
She
out.
said she said, thank you so much. I'm rushing right now to get my kid to go before he gets here. Oh my God, big hugs to you, big
She's
hugs.
rushing to what?
Right now, she's actively right now going to get all the stuff she can before he gets there and get it
Good.
out of the house. Good for you.
Excellent.
Good for you.
Get it. Get your
So happy
paperwork.
for you.
Get your
Paperwork.
paperwork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Documents,
Mhm,
paperwork,
mhm.
sentimental items, the rest is
Pictures, marriage license, anything that can't be replaced, especially.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
important. And that's
Yes.
it. Mhm.
Yeah. Even the marriage license, because you find
If you forget your toothbrush, who cares? Get one at the local,
right. You can
Yeah.
get it for
You
less than $1.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Dollface says I had to get a court order to get my original birth certificate back. I only left with my clothes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get it if you can. Mhm.
Yes. Very good. Yeah. Melinda says, especially when they ditch you, they find in time that new supply may not tolerate the things you did and come knocking on your door. Don't open that proverbial door. Yes.
Mhm.
That's one of the many reasons they do Hoover. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Lots of really good discussion today, guys. Miranda, please email me or something and let us know how you're
Yeah, please.
doing.
Yeah.
We're all pulling for you here. Okay. And Michelle, really quick. Michelle said, after 32 years, my stuff is all I have left. Well, honey, take as much as you can. Take it all if you can. I'm just saying that if you're in physical danger, maybe you go back with the police to get it. But if it's a situation, yeah, rebuild, grow forward. It's thoughts for Michelle.
Yeah, that stuff is all you have left. That might be worth looking at to just, you've got your freedom if you're out, right?
Mhm.
You've got a chance at a healthier life. So it's not all you have. You've got hope for yourself. You can't have hope in a toxic relationship because it's just Groundhog's Day. You're just repeating and repeating, right?
Yes.
So you've got a lot that is more than stuff, and try to notice it a little bit.
Yes, 100%. Yep. Hey, Stacy. Stacy's here for the first time in a long time. Good to see you. All right, guys, we are about to wrap up because I know I've kept Lisa a little longer than I meant to, and I do have another call in a little while. So we will see you very soon next week, I guess.
Yes.
Well, Tuesday, and Helpful Mom is doing her thing. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you to Helpful Mom, to Jack Lehman, to Christine Schwartz for all being here from the Mod Squad. Thank you for our members who are here. And thank you for all of you being here. We are very grateful for you. If you need help with coaching, or you want to learn about Lisa's group coaching, which is amazing, make sure you head over to queenbeing.com. And I think that Helpful Mom will put that in there. But for that group coaching, go to queenbeing.com/groups, or what was the other one?
Or group coaching.
Group coaching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Group coaching. You think?
No, just group coaching. No. If you just put Queen Being group coaching, it pops up.
It comes up. Perfect. Yeah. All right. All right. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, and then guys, check out over at my channel. I'll be probably live tomorrow and Friday, I'm hoping. So
yeah. So if you're not
what day are we on today? We're on Wednesday.
Today's
right?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Tomorrow and Friday, hopefully.
Yeah.
So if you're not already over there, hit subscribe so you get the notifications. And
so Helpful Mom is putting the information about the lives and everything there. Hey, Blue Moon, thank you. And she'll also, I think she also includes channel links here for subscription. Okay. So make sure that you go over and subscribe to Lise as well. And we'll see you guys. Well, she'll see y'all much sooner than me, but I'll see you next Tuesday. But videos in between. Yes. All right. We'll talk soon. All right. There's the channel for Lise right there in the chat. There we go.